Hey, good morning, everybody. It's been a while since I did one of these videos. I'm glad we don't do Zoom Sundays anymore. But I just wanted to pop on for a few brief moments and first of all, wish everybody a truly wonderful and courageous and meaningful new year. I know that it will be filled with a holy mix of beauty and brokenness in some forms. And but it's our great chance. It's our opportunity to live life passionately and purposefully as followers of Christ. And I just hope it's a rich, rich, rich new year for each of you. At the end of the year, I always get nostalgic about people that we've lost in 2022 or the previous year. And I know that I didn't know any of these people, but they're sports stars and TV actors and actresses and news people and politicians and musicians who truly somehow have been a part of your life. And so, I just want to mention a few of them, and just reminisce again just about the brevity and of life, and the chance, the holy chance that we have, each of us, to speak into one another's lives and to speak into the life of our neighbors and our families. They call me Mr. Tibbs, Sidney Poitier. What an important, iconic actor in our country that we lost. Cardinal Ratzenberger, who became Pope Benedict, just died. Barbara Walters, of course. I think we all saw interviews that she had and sometimes courageously asked questions that needed to be asked. One of my favorite shows growing up was Magnum PI, and the helicopter pilot on that show was a man named Roger Mosley, and that was my favorite show, probably late high school or high school, somewhere in that general vicinity. And I used to wear a Detroit Tigers cap because I wanted to be Magnum PI. So my pilot friend died this year. Franco Harris, as you know, I grew up in Pittsburgh, and he's an iconic sports hero in the town, and tragically died just a couple days before they were going to retire his jersey and celebrate his life. The great athlete Pele, and we just had the World Cup, and it was really the first time in my life that I kind of embraced the World Cup as something that truly brought the world together. And you just kind of thought about the role of our church and the church, and we can't do that on the grand scale, but the mission to bring people together, parishioners and neighbors, families, and new people, and people that have been in our lives. We lost my friend, our old member at Calvary, Earl Ray, recently. Just a quiet, gentle man who has been at Calvary longer than Randy and I. I was a big fan of the show Cheers, and as silly as it sounds, that theme song really resonated always with me, and I believe that both the pub and the church can learn something from that show. Obviously it was a comedy, but that idea of being somewhere where everybody knows your name. It's important. Our humanity being embraced and is very important in our time of division and culture wars and political correctness. We need to be human together, and we need to know each other's names and continue to try to find ways to bring people together. Those are some of the ones. I could talk about Tom Weiskopf as a guy that I loved to watch play professional golf because, when I was a young man, if I had a chance to wave a magic wand, I might have chosen to be a professional golfer. And I'll never forget how he was one of the world's best, and yet in a very important tournament called the Masters, chunked about 3 in the water, right, one right after another, and saw what pressure and stress can do to any of us, even the most talented people. Yesterday, at the end of the year, I got a call from an old friend of mine back home, asking me for a loan of money. Said that he'd come on hard times and was going to have, I think, his electricity shut off. And I'm mindful of the difficulty of life always. And yesterday, Randy and I had to take Kendall, our beautiful daughter, to the ER after some very hard and traumatic and difficult seizures that she had. So I always get nostalgic and reminisce about kind of that side of life that is more about loss. And at the end of the year, even though I just so always look forward to new beginnings, the new year provides, the new week provides, the new day provides. And that's true for us as a church, and true for each of us as individuals and as families. And so I just want to share one word for you as members of Calvary, and then one simple word for you as an individual. And hope that it's something that can resonate with you as we enter into a new year of beauty and brokenness. And I implore you to please keep the beauty close to your heart, because it's really important, and there's so much of it. And our chance is good. We have this chance, but it's a good chance. And so the other day, Dean mentioned to me that somebody at our Christmas concert asked about a saying that hangs in our hallway. It's a saying that I wrote many, many, many years ago when I dreamt of what kind of church I was hoping to help build. And it's not a statement that we've ever used for anything. It's never been publicly read. It just hangs in a hall, and people walk by it. And but this person read it and commented to Dean, "I wonder how long it took for everybody to agree on this statement." Well, back in the day, brothers and sisters, there was, I just did things, and I wrote this, and I blew it up, and I framed it, and I hung it in the hall, and I want to read it to you, because when I wrote it, it was true for me, a vision of the church, and I think it's still a vision for our church. And it reads like this. Blow it up a little bit. We are a community of common people, created and in the process of being built up by the Spirit. Together we have been invited to enter, experience, and make known, through relevant and just means, the renewal work of God, which was uniquely inaugurated in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. As a reconciled people, we are being formed around an identity that transcends class, ethnicity, and nationalism. As a redeemed people, we are discovering a unity that transcends diversity and is rooted in a shared love for one another. As a hopeful people, we are fighting against those powers that seek to destroy, dehumanize, and denigrate God's good creation. We invite you to join us. I hope maybe this year, we can take a look at this statement that I wrote a long time ago. And then for you as an individual and as a follower of Jesus, I said something at Christmas Eve that I believe with all the conviction that I have as a person of faith, that Christ came fundamentally, and there are layers of reasonings, of course, but fundamentally, as a response to what Isaiah says in chapter 1, verse 2, that my people do not know me, my people do not understand. And then the symbolism of the manger is presented there. And in Luke's gospel, the symbolism of the manger is mentioned 3 times. And I believe that there is that connection. And so, if Jesus reveals God in a way that history had not revealed God up to that point, or at least, maybe that's an incorrect statement, but a way that he reveals God in a human way, in a way that puts a face on God. And I've used this phrase before, that there's nothing un-Christ-like about God. So I sometimes challenge statements that are attributed to God, even in the scriptures and in the heart of hearts that is mine and mine alone. It doesn't need to be yours, but there are things that are said of God that I just simply don't believe, because I can't reconcile them with the teachings and the ministry and the revelation of God in the humble Jesus. And I want to point out one of these for you and have it be both an affirmation of how I understand each of you and as a challenge for all of us as we deepen this conviction in our lives as followers in the new year. In the Old Testament, book of Leviticus, there is a challenge for the people to be holy as God is holy. And holiness is fundamentally defined as being separate, different from, unique, consecrated, different ways of thinking about what does holiness mean. And we associate that, I think, with this notion of being morally the best we can. And of course that's true. The commandments of God are associated with Leviticus 19, where this statement comes from. 1 Peter associates with being holy, the way in terms of how we live our lives. But Jesus also, uniquely, I think, says something about that. And he does quote from Leviticus 19. And I said something about Leviticus a couple of weeks ago, and somebody left the sanctuary. But Jesus does quote Leviticus, and he quotes it as love your neighbor as yourself. But he also, I think, possibly defines holiness in a way that others have not defined holiness. And that is in Luke chapter 6. He says, "Be merciful as your Father in heaven is merciful." So I don't know if he is referring fully to the notion of be holy as God is holy, but he does, it seems, in the poetry connect with his definition of holiness: be merciful as your Father in heaven is merciful. And so mercy, compassion, and these are how I associate the moral journey of following Christ. And holiness is not being separate from or disengaged from or not living, retreating. But holiness is leaning in, loving. Holiness is getting our hands dirty. It's being born in a manger. It's being humble. It's using this chance of a new year to try to be a lifter of others and to allow others to lift me. And that is holiness for me, is always an exchange. And if ever you don't remember anything I've ever said, I remember the one thing that I've tried to say the most, that we all have something to bring and we all have something to receive. And it is in that exchange that I believe we experience existentially the Holy Spirit and the deepest notion of holiness. I I bless you. I pray for you. I hope that 2023 for Calvary and for you is an incredibly wonderful year. God bless you guys.